Hey guys, Handman99 here. Welcome back to another video. I apologize for the disabled arrow effects. I don't, on Open Broadcaster, I don't get 50 or 60 FPS unless I disable it. But it's not that big of a deal. I don't think it distracts from the videos. I tried recording it without it on and I get about between 15 to 20 FPS. So, not a huge fan of that, but I mean, I'd rather keep the 60 FPS than make it look nice, just a few pixels on the screen look nicer. Not really, but. So today I'm going to be showing you guys how to set up your own vanilla Minecraft servers, and then I'll have a video following directly after this showing you how to set up a modded server. For the vanilla servers, I'm going to be doing 1.8.7 or any 1.8 server, and really any server behind that, actually. But, anyway, so I'm going to be showing you how to set up the executable and the jar version of the vanilla server, as well as, next video I'm going to be doing is for the modded server, which is going to be kind of like the jar version of the server, but there's a little bit more to it. So we'll go ahead and start on our vanilla servers. So all you need to do is just go to Minecraft.net and go to the already bought the game, download it here button, and that will take you to this window here, which shows you what links you need to download. So we're going to start off by just downloading the executable. Before we do that, I'm going to create a folder here just for this video, and I'm just going to call it vanilla exe server. So in this folder, there's nothing special. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and go to here and download this executable file. And now, it's pretty easy to set this up, but I'm going to show you how to, more in depth than just how to run the server, because it's easy to run the server, but it's not as easy to actually configure all the settings and things like that. I'm going to be explaining to you what all those settings are for. Okay, so this is just kind of being an idiot and telling me how it's not downloading. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to show in folder and cut and paste it right here. So now we have the Minecraft server 1.8.7 in here. The next thing you're going to want to do is double click it and hit run. Now, when it runs, you're going to run into a problem, and that problem is you have to agree to the EULA, or the end user license agreement. I don't know why they added that, but you have to. So, as you can see, nothing happened. And you can see if I go in here, okay, so I guess it's still trying to load. So, I was like, why is there nothing here? So, there we go. Okay. So you can see it's still trying to open the console, I'm pretty sure, but you can see it says EULA. And if I open this up, it says, by changing the setting below to true, blah, blah, blah. So you cannot open your server unless you type true in here and save it. So either Control S or File Save. And then you can exit out, and then you can go ahead and rerun it again, and it should open this time. However long that takes. Okay, there we go. It already opened. So if you're not familiar by now what this interface is, this, there's a little graph that shows up. I don't know if they still have it, but back when I used to use it, there's a graph that shows up here that tells you whether or not how well your server is performing memory-wise. So it'll kind of graph how much memory you're using. I think it's either that or tick rate, I'm not sure. So this tells you your memory use. We'll talk about how to allocate more RAM to your server in a little bit. And your average tick is 1.1 milliseconds. And there's 10 redstone ticks, but I think it's talking about the 20 ticks that happen for pretty much most other things like furnaces and fuel and stuff like that. Anyway, you can view what players are in your server, and you can see the log and chat. You can type chat messages in here, or you can type server commands in here as well. To exit the server, you can I recommend typing stop rather than just exiting out. It'll still work, but I recommend just clicking stop. Anyway, let's see. Alright, so now we have a few things here. We have our world folder, which has our world in it. If you want to give this to someone else to play in, you just copy and paste this and send it to them, or zip it up and have them use that for playing whatever was in the server. I'm going to be talking specifically about the server.properties file here. If yours does not show a notepad little window here, or when you double click it, it says doesn't know what kind of file it is, choose a list of programs, not Windows help you find it. Just choose the default program to open it with, and choose Notepad or Notepad++. I do not recommend using WordPad, because WordPad is not just a text editor. It's kind of like Word. So do not use Word or WordPad to open these files, or you might mess up the formatting, and then it doesn't save as a text file anymore. Because you can open a text file, but you can't save it as a text file. Okay, so let's talk about these settings. So this just tells you it's the settings. This tells you when the settings were created. The generator settings are basically when you go to Minecraft and you choose Superflat, and that little text box that has all the information about it, like what kind of blocks are in it, you know, what's at the bottom, what's in the middle, you know, what's the top layer, is there trees, that goes here if you're doing a Superflat. But if you're doing a default world or amplified, then you just leave it as is. Your op permission level is basically if you op someone, depending on the number, the higher the number, the more permissions they have. So on the Minecraft wiki, it tells you more about that. I don't know what the number is exactly off the top of my head. Allow another equals true. Basically, that means you can't light another portal if this is false. So this might be useful if you're trying to save on RAM, if you don't have a very good computer and you're trying to run a server and you don't want to have more than one dimension running at the same time. Although you cannot, as far as I know, disable the end. Unless you disable Ender Pearls or Eyes of Ender or something. That'll make it extremely hard to find it. Your resource pack hash, I believe this is for, I don't know, this is kind of a new thing. I'm assuming it's some sort of resource pack code that you have to put in and then it'll download it off the internet. I'm not sure about that. Someone might have to tell me in the comments. I'll have to look it up after I made the video because I was not expecting that to show up because I haven't made a vanilla server in quite some time. Your level name, basically what this means is this is the folder name. So it says world here and it says world here. So that's just the name of the world folder. Enable querying, basically either it's allowing you to ping it or it's allowing you to connect to it. The next thing is you can allow flight. That doesn't mean you can actually double click the spacebar and start flying, but if Minecraft, this is more for modded, if Minecraft detects that you're flying, like you're in the air for so long and you're moving forward, it's going to kick you for flying because it thinks you're flying without being in creative mode. So you can disable flight and that won't allow them to fly. This is pretty self-explanatory. If you turn that off, it won't tell anyone that someone's gotten an achievement. Server port, this is for if you're port forwarding, if you're playing not on a server. Or not on a local server. If you're playing on a local server, like in your same household on the same network, you don't need to worry about this. But if you're actually playing on a server and you want other people to join from the network, then you'll want to change this, or most people leave it the same. But when you go into your router settings, which I'm not going to go into detail on that, there are tons of other videos about how to port forward servers, and it's not just, you don't have to search Minecraft server in general, but you can search just how to port forward something, and it will tell you how to do it. You probably should look for your router specific. If you're just trying to set up a server, you could use Hamachi. I haven't used Hamachi before. It's called LogMe and Hamachi. It basically allows you to not port forward the server and people can still play, but it's a little bit more difficult to use as far as I know. And it's just the only thing it really provides you is you don't have to port forward your server, and it provides more security. But I mean, port forwarding a port doesn't really, it's not too big of a security risk to your network as far as I'm concerned, because the only way that someone can hack into your computer is if someone if you install the program that they would use, and that it used that particular port, and then because they can't actually control your computer unless they have a back-end program running on your PC. So you can't hack. Anyway, your Max World and Minecraft servers, you can't really hack them. All they can do is connect to it and type in commands. But, I mean, all they can do is save the world and start making file system changes to that particular folder, but that's about it. Your Max World size, you can change this to be smaller or larger. If you are concerned about saving on RAM, I would change this lower, because that basically prevents players from going too far away from spawn. But usually that's the default. Basically, 30 million blocks by 60 million blocks x-axis, 60 million blocks y-axis. So, I mean, you can control the size. But this size is from 00 to, or from x0 to x 29,999,984. So you can change that size to 1,000 if you want. So if you want a relatively small world to save on maybe world size, or to save on RAM, then you can do that if you have a lot of players. Level type. This is where you tell it what kind of world you want. So in all caps, you type default. If you want a flat world, you change this to capital flat. Just flat. That's all you have to type in. Then you can use generator settings. Enable Archon. What this means is there's a way to remotely connect to the console. So if your console is running on an actual server, kind of like, I think Creeper Host probably allows you to do this, because you can't physically connect to their server to actually access the console, but you can run a server on there, and then all you have to do is make sure this is true, and then you can use a remote connect program to connect to the server using the same IP as you use to connect via Minecraft, and then you can run commands through it. I haven't personally needed this because I run all my servers on my own computer. Level seed. Pretty self-explanatory. You put in the seed you want to use for the game. It does not work once the world's generated, obviously, so if you change it, it won't change anything. Forced game mode. If someone joins the server and it's set to be in survival, and they decide to go in creative mode, or they get put in creative mode, and they leave, and they come back, will it change their game mode back to survival, or will they be able to stay in creative? So when it's false, that means they'll be back in creative. Server IP, I really don't know. It's not really important for really anything. I don't change it, because I think the last time I changed it, it crashed the server. But yeah, it's not really important, because your server IP is already predetermined by your network. Network compression threshold. This would probably be not even really important for anyone. I don't even know what it is, so it probably isn't important. Max build height, self-explanatory. Spawn NPCs, self-explanatory. Whitelist. You can disable or enable the whitelist. You can whitelist players through the console or through Minecraft if you're opt. Spawn animals, self-explanatory. Hardcore, self-explanatory. Snooper enabled. That basically means Mojang has this thing where it reports information about your computer, not your name or any personal information, but like type of operating system, architecture, graphics card type, processor type, you know, how much RAM you have, screen resolution, things like that. It'll report that to Mojang's website, and you can opt out of it on the client Minecraft, but you can also opt out of it on the server as well. So you can disable this. Basically, it'll snoop information about where the server is running to Mojang. So if you want to turn that off, that's fine. Online mode. This is kind of nice. If you are, mostly this is for use in a family setting. If you have one Minecraft account but you have multiple computers and your kids are all using, or your family is all using the same account, if you want to allow them to join a LAN world together or a server, you cannot join a LAN world with the same account, but you can disable this online mode. Basically what that means is check to make sure if this is actually a valid player that isn't already in the server. So if you disable this, you can have two of the same player join at the same time. So if Mojang servers are down but you can still play, you could use this to allow them to join, because then that basically means that if Mojang servers are down, players can still join the server because it doesn't check to see if they're actually can be joined. Resource pack. If you want the server to download a resource pack, I think you have to put it in some kind of folder on the inside of here. Either that or it goes directly in there, and then you type in the file name of that file that needs to be downloaded, and it will put it. I think it just goes straight in there. And it will put it, it will ask if they need to download the resource pack or not. And that's optional. There's no way to force them to download anything. PvP, self-explanatory difficulty. This is peaceful. 0 is peaceful. 1 is easy. 2 is normal. And 3 is hard. Enable command block. If you're playing in creative and you don't want people running commands, then through command blocks you can turn this off and they can't use command blocks. Game mode, this is 0 is survival, 1 is creative, and 2 is adventure. Player idle timeout, basically that means this is like an auto AFK kicking feature. So if you change this to 1, that means if they stop moving for 1 minute, it'll kick them from the server. Max players, self-explanatory. Max tick time, I think that's 60,000 milliseconds, which is 60 seconds. Basically, that means I think it'll just shut down the server if it exceeds that time, which I don't think anyone's computer will do that. But if you're running your computer and game on the same, or server and client on the same computer, this may be an issue. So if you need to change that higher, but really if it's that long, then you have a really horrible server. Just saying. Spawn monsters, self-explanatory. Generate structures, self-explanatory. View distance, basically that's like a hard capped thing on the server. So, you know, the server won't send you more than 10 chunks at a time. So that's just how it works. MOTD stands for message of the day. You can change this to whatever you want, and that shows up underneath what people name your server as. So people add your server, and that shows up in white, and then whatever's underneath it is what the MOTD is. And this can be multiple lines as of 1.8. You can also use color codes, which is you hold down Alt, and then on the number pad, you type in 21, and then you let go of Alt, and then it puts in this thing. This is called the section symbol. Then you type in a number, and on the Minecraft Wiki, it tells you more information about this. Just search color codes on Minecraft Wiki, and it will give you all this information, even the character code. On Mac, it is Command, I believe, 21. All that does is insert Unicode characters, so you can type in 23, for example, and get a different character. But you type in that symbol, and then you type in the number 3, and then you can say a Minecraft server. And then this will be converted into a Unicode kind of thing for Minecraft, but so that won't be there when you open it back up, but it will still work. So it just converts it to a different thing. But that'll set it to, I think, like green or something like that. So that is how you set up the server.properties. Just went through that really quick. We won't have to go through that again because I already explained it. This is all JSON information. So when you actually opt someone, you don't. It used to be where you could just type in their name. Now it's not as simple. It's all formatted in JSON. So when you put anyone in here, you have to put it in through JSON. So I just recommend using the server feature itself to actually do all this. I actually just recommend using the console to whitelist people because, I mean, it's way easier than putting in like 5 lines of stuff to get someone whitelisted on the server. Unless you write some sort of program to do it, and then, yeah. So I'm going to create another folder here, and this is where it gets more technical. So if you just want a server, and you just want it to work, and you just double click it and it works, and you change the EULA, then that's what you do. If you're trying to set up a server where you have, why did I do that? Where you have more control over RAM usage and whether or not you want information. Oops, oh my gosh, I'm so horrible at this. There we go. If you want to have more fine control over memory and stuff like that, then this is the way you go. So this is vanilla jar server. So back to Minecraft.net. You're going to click on this here, run Minecraft server, and ignore this. We'll talk about that in a second. It asks you if it's a security, this type of file can harm your computer. It's not malware. It's just Minecraft's written in Java, and .jar is kind of like a zip file, but it contains a bunch of information on how the program works, like code and stuff, compiled code. So that's what it is. It's not malware. Obviously, I don't think if it was malware you download. I don't think there'd be any malware on Minecraft's website. Okay, so we got that downloaded, and come on, it just sits here for 10 seconds and then tells me. So anyway, let's go ahead and open that. Or I didn't want to open it. Why did I do that? So if you just click on it and open it, it won't actually do anything. It will just not do anything. Let's see. Let's date modify this. I need this. Okay, yeah, so it actually did kind of run, but so you just put this in here. So you cannot, as far as I know, just double click this. If you double click it, nothing really happens. I mean, it still works, but it's not really preferred by most people to do that. So you double click it, you still have to agree to the EULA, obviously. And same with modded. I think this has been in here since 1.7, so, I mean, yeah. So you still got the same server properties, same exact information. It's not generated yet because the server hasn't run. But I'm going to show you guys how to create a file that allows you to control how much memory your server is allowed to use or allocated to the server. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new text document. Actually, I don't want a new text document. Either open Notepad or open Notepad++. I'm just going to open Notepad++ for things. And I'm going to create a new file. And what I'm going to do is, this is a really simple file. All you need to do is type in, if you want to, first off, you need to type in Java, space. That will tell the computer that you want to use Java to run whatever file you tell it to run. If you want to just run the server, or if you want to, the next thing you need to do is type in -jar. This tells the computer that you're running a jar file. And then you type in the name of the jar file, which is this. So just for taking out the possibility of an error, just hit F2, copy that, click out of it, and then go back to Notepad and paste it in there. That'll kind of keep you from accidentally mistyping it and saves time. Space. If that's all you want, if that's all, oh wait, you need to add .jar in the end. If that is all you want, if you just want to run the server, that's all you need. Now, when you run the jar file, it actually will open two windows. The regular window, like we saw with the regular server.properties, or this regular vanilla server, the executable version. And it'll also open a command prompt window. If you don't want to see the regular Minecraft server window, just type in NO-GUI. Basically, that means no GUI. Space. If you want to change how much RAM there is, minus, and then type in XMS, the number of megabytes of memory you want to allocate to it. I would just, if you have 2 gigs of RAM, I wouldn't recommend running a server in the first place. But if you have, like, I have 16, so vanilla servers really don't need that much memory anyway. So I would just recommend starting off with maybe 512M for a lower tier computer with maybe like 6 gigs or 4 gigs or 8 gigs even, I would start off with 512M. That means its minimum required memory it's allowed to use is 512 megabytes. So it has to use more than that. I don't know why you'd want to set a minimum limit, but you know, you might want to keep it having enough memory for, you know, variables and things like that. Now, if you want to cap it at a maximum, which is what most people want to do, is XMX, then the number. You can either type in a megabyte number, 1024 is a gigabyte, and 2048 is 2 gigabytes. You can either type in that. So, for me, I would probably allocate 8 gigabytes, but I don't need 8 gigabytes. At max, you'd need 4 if you got like 20 or 30,000, not thousand. If you have like 100 people on the server, you might need 4 gigabytes, but if you want to allocate 1 gigabyte, you can either type in 1024M or you can type in 1G, and that will still work as well. But most people use M. And these dashed things don't really matter what order they go in. So, if you put in dash jar at the end, and then Minecraft Server 1.8.7.jar at the end of this rather than at the beginning, it'll still work. So if I just cut and paste this, cut, make sure there's only one space, you can do this. That will still work. But you can't just mix it up however you want, but for the most part you can do whatever your heart desires in terms of order. As long as these stay grouped together, and this is at the beginning. That's all you have to worry about. So once I save this, you're going to want to go to wherever you saved the file, and let me find it. It's under Vanilla Jar Server. I'm going to save this as a where is it? Batch file. If you're on Notepad, you change it to save as type all files. Then you type in run, start, server start, go, whatever you want to call it. I'll just call mine run. Then you put .bat on the end. So both Notepad++ and Notepad, you put run.bat on it. Then you go ahead and save it. And there you go. Now when you run this, you can see it comes up with just this command prompt window. It says exactly the same thing as the regular one would, but other than that, I mean, it just doesn't show you how many players are in it, or the memory tick rate. That's all. If there's a problem, it will tell you, is the server running behind, you know, something like that. And the same thing, when you're here, you just type in the command and hit stop. Now, as far as chat messages go, you cannot just type in a chat message. You have to type in /say space chat message. So that's how you set up a vanilla Minecraft server. If you want to load a preloaded world, put the world folder inside of the root folder right here, but rename it to world. Either rename it to lowercase world, or go into the server.properties and change where it says world to whatever the folder is called. And then that way it's not loading the wrong world. Because if you put that in there before you start the server and it starts up, it'll create a new folder called world and it won't load the right one. So if you're trying to load a pre-made map, then you need to make sure you rename that maps folder to world, or you change the server.properties so it's called whatever that map folder is called. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Soon after, I'll be coming out with how to set up a Forge video. The Forge video won't be nearly as long as this one. This one's pretty long. It's 30 minutes. I apologize for that. I wasn't sure how long it would take, but this is kind of like an in-depth video on how to do it. It's not like a, okay, here's how to set it up thing. It's how to set up all the things you might want to do. Lastly, if you want to access the log, if your server crashes, this is more for modded because most of the time it's a modded server that crashes. You can open up this. This just is the latest, but it'll also save, I think it'll only save like 3 files on your computer maximum with a zip file. Yeah. Okay. it just has the log file in it. So this is the actual file of that specific event. So if I open that up, it was just telling me I need to agree to EULA. So, but yeah, so that's it. I'm gonna keep this as short as possible, even though it's not short anymore. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time. Peace.